everyone! In today's video, I wanted to show you how I did this animal print design. But before we start, you guys know that it's so important to always prep the nails. And I already done that, so now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna apply the form, but I'm gonna close it off a lot more than usual. Because in today's video, I'm gonna be doing coffin-shaped nails. And now that I have this first step done, I'm gonna start by applying the acrylic. What I like to do is that I apply the first bead between the natural nail and the form. And slowly, using my brush, I'm gonna push the acrylic down until I create the coffin shape that I like. For today's design, I'm gonna be doing pretty long nails. They're gonna be about XL size kind of. But if you guys don't want them to be this long, that's fine because the design is also gonna work on short nails. One of the most important steps to do coffin-shaped nails is to close off the form a lot more, because otherwise what's gonna happen is that our nail is gonna end up being square. Now I'm gonna start by applying the acrylic, and like you guys can tell, the way I move it is that I keep doing little taps and I keep dragging it down until it's the shape that I like. Also, a little thing that you guys have to keep in mind when you're doing acrylic nails is that acrylic dries out by itself. So it's not only gonna dry on the nail, but it can possibly dry on the brush. So what I do is that I keep cleaning it with the monomer. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add the last acrylic bead. First, I'm gonna connect it with what I've already done, and then I'm gonna keep pushing it upwards until it gets near the cuticle. But remember that it's so important to never touch the cuticle or the skin, because what's gonna happen is that that's gonna make our nail lift. The reason why I like to apply the first acrylic bead between the natural nail and the form is because it's gonna make my nail a lot stronger and it's gonna have less chances of actually breaking. Also, another tip that I have for you guys is to use the lines on the form as a guide, because in that way it's gonna be a lot easier for you to create the sides of the nail, because I know that sometimes it can be a little bit difficult. And now that I have this done, I'm gonna apply the last bead and I'm gonna make sure that everything is well covered. And to finish out this nail, what I like to do is that I apply a little bit of pressure on the sides. Because what this is gonna do is that it's gonna make my nail have more of a C shape, and it's gonna make it look more natural. And to finish up, I'm gonna create the last nail for this tutorial. Remember that first we're gonna apply the form and we're gonna close it off a lot more than usual. And now I'm gonna go ahead and apply the first bead, and I'm gonna push the acrylic down using my brush and doing little taps. So remember that when you're using acrylic, it's important to keep cleaning the brush with monomer. And now I'm gonna finish up by adding the last bead. And here I'm gonna make sure that the entire nail is well covered and there's no little spaces left behind. And of course, remember to apply some pressure on the sides, because this is gonna make your nail look a lot prettier. And this is how these coffin-shaped nails look like. Like you guys can tell, they're not perfect, but that's why I always say that filing is one of the most important steps. When I file nails, I like to start by filing the sides, and since these are coffin-shaped, I'm gonna put the file completely straight. How the nails look like after filing the sides. Now the only thing left to do is to file the surface, and I'm gonna be using my e-file for that, but if you guys want to, you can use a regular one. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna make sure that these nails are pretty thin, and I'm gonna file down any bumps that are left behind. This is how the nails look like after being filed. Now everything is done and we're ready to do the design. Before we start, I recommend you to clean off the nails, because after filing, there's always gonna be some dust left behind. First thing that I'm gonna do to create this animal print design is that I'm gonna be adding the base color. And like you guys can tell, I chose this really pretty neutral gel polish. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna go over all of the nails, And like you guys know, I like to use gel polishes. So what that means is that for them to dry, you have to cure them. So I'm gonna be curing each time for about 30 seconds. And since this neutral color is kind of transparent, I'm also gonna go over it twice until it's the color that I like. Depending on the color, you guys have to even go over 3 times. And this is how the base looks like. But something different that I wanted to do is that I wanted them to be matte. I didn't want any type of shine. So to do that, I'm gonna use this top coat that leaves the nails with this matte effect. And to add this is actually pretty easy. All you have to do is go over the nails and then cure them for 60 seconds. Now we have the base done, and I think this matte effect is gonna make the whole design look better. But before we go on, I'm gonna be creating these abstract designs where we're actually gonna be drawing the animal print on. And to do this, you guys are gonna need a really thin nail art brush, because otherwise, trust me, it's going to be way too hard to create this. And I'm also gonna be using this white gel polish. The reason why I'm using white gel polish is because once I cure it, I'm gonna be adding pigments on top of it. But that's going to be in just a little bit. And just like I told you earlier, what I'm gonna be doing here is that I'm gonna be creating abstract designs. Honestly, I'm not following any type of guide. You guys can create whatever you want. But basically what I'm doing is that I'm creating a curvy line and then I'm covering everything up. And this is how it looks like. Of course, remember that we have to cure everything before we go on. And also something very important is that we need this white gel polish to have a tacky layer, because otherwise the pigments are not gonna stick to it. And here what you guys are gonna need is a brush to apply the pigments. And like you guys can tell, I'm gonna be going from the lightest color until the darkest. And basically what I'm doing is that I'm mixing 2 colors in each nail. On the first one, I mixed yellow and green. On the second one, this light orange and dark orange. And here on the third one, I'm gonna be mixing these 2 pinks. The way I apply the pigments is that I use my brush and I do little taps. I try not to drag it out because I feel like it doesn't look that great that way. And on the last nail, I'm gonna be mixing purple and blue. And to make sure that everything sticks, I'm gonna cure everything for about another 30 seconds. And this is how it looks like. But like you guys can tell, using pigments can be a little bit messy sometimes. So I'm gonna be cleaning these nails with a little bit of acetone. Now everything is ready for us to add a little bit of top coat. Like you guys know, this top coat is not only gonna add a really pretty shine, but it's also going to protect the design. It's going to make the pigments last way longer. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna go over the abstract design that we did earlier, and I'm gonna be adding this top coat. Of course, I'm gonna cure everything for 60 seconds. This is how it looks like. I think the contrast between the matte effect and the shine looks so pretty. And now, yes, we are ready to do the animal print. To do this, I'm gonna be using this dotting tool, and I'm gonna use this brown gel paint. Here, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna be creating dots on the abstract design that we created earlier. And I'm not really following an exact guide. I'm just kind of doing it randomly. Also, you guys don't have to worry about these dots being perfect, because the animal print is also a little bit abstract. And since this is gel paint, we're gonna cure everything for about 1 minute. And now we have the base done of the animal print, because the next thing that we're gonna be doing is that I'm gonna be adding this black gel paint with the same nail art brush. And I'm gonna go over the dots that we created. And also, I'm gonna be doing tiny dots between, because I thought that otherwise it would look too simple. I don't know if you guys can notice, but I'm not connecting the black lines that I'm doing over the dots. I'm just kind of leaving a space between. And of course, I'm gonna keep doing the exact same thing on all over the nails. A thing that I noticed is that the brown and the black kind of mixed together and you couldn't really see it well. So something extra that I'm gonna add is this lighter brown, and I'm gonna go over the dots so it can kind of create this contrast and the animal print can look a little bit better. And this is how the nails look like after adding the light brown. But before we're completely done with this design, I'm gonna be adding a little bit of this gold gel paint. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna keep using the same thin nail art brush, and I'm gonna go over the abstract design that we created. You guys can tell I'm slowly going over the outline of the abstract design. I feel like adding this gel paint makes everything complete. And of course, I'm gonna cure everything for about 60 seconds. And this is how the final design looks like. I think that it was so easy to mix the pigments, and if you follow step by step, I'm sure that you can also do it. I hope that you guys like this tutorial. If you did, please subscribe and like this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!